Right, hi everyone, and welcome back to the channel. I'm Ollie Barton, as you know, and I have with me today Roger Edvinsson, who is the organiser behind the Capital Enduro Series. And if you race enduro in Sweden, you've probably met this guy along the way. I think of him as quite the sort of godfather of definitely Stockholm enduro, but it seems like you're going a bit more into Swedish enduro as a whole.
Yeah.
But yeah, say hello.
Hello, everybody.
So first things first, we're going to talk about the Swecup, and then we're going to go into the Capital Enduro later on. So can you tell me a bit about your involvement with the Swecup?
The Swecup is a collaboration between a lot of different clubs in Sweden. Actually, we are the only company that's running a Swecup. But
Okay.
behind it, we also have our own club. That's the Bike Adventure Cycling Club. That is the official the official head behind it. And yeah, it's we are 7 different spots now.
Yeah.
7 different clubs that arrange one race each.
Okay. And you're going to be doing the Stockholm round?
Yeah, I'm going to do the Stockholm round, and I will be involved in some of the timekeeping at some of the other events also. Yes.
And there's going to be some updates on the timekeeping for this year, is there?
Yeah, we are trying now to get a new system in works, so we will have more stable times, better uploads, better view for the competitors. But we're far away from done, but we are really getting it, and it will be so much better for the competitors.
Okay.
And it will be
Will we have like live timing like before?
There will be some live timing, but maybe not after each stage. We don't know exactly how it works.
Yeah.
But because we saw last year, we have some differences between the events and how the live timing worked. Yeah. And that's not something we want. We want it to be rock solid, and for the competitors to know what to expect.
Like some consistency.
Exactly the same at all events, and every competitor should know what to expect from the timing.
Yeah, because it was always like I always found it a bit of a worry. Some races you'd go, and after every stage it would update, and then sometimes it'd be some riders and not other. And I know in Iserberg, you probably remember getting a very panicked phone call from me at one point because everyone else had got their results and mine hadn't come through, and I'm like, should I go back and do the stage again? Or
and to clarify that, even in the problem that were in Falun, and as you said in Iserberg and Stockholm also, we have some problems with the upload of the times for the live timing, but there was never a problem with the timing. The timing was spot on. But the problem was the live timing part, and we were saying that we're gonna deliver a little too much that we didn't know the system was capable of. And that's the problem. It crashed internally, but all the timekeeping is done on the CIACON, on the riders, so it's never a problem there. The problem is on the cloud, and we couldn't show the times the way we wanted it, and that's what we're gonna change this year.
Okay, cool. Well, that's nice to hear, and I only heard of a couple of instances where someone actually like lost their time for the day across the whole season, which was.
I think I've gone through all the timing for all the events last year, and
Did you get them all back?
Yeah, I didn't see anybody that lost their time. We had one rider in Östersund that haven't got a result for stage 1 because the control was knocked down when he started. So he passed the starting control with and you can actually see it on the on his own video footage.
I know the rider you're on about.
Yeah. And we solved that with giving him the time on the video. And it was a good solution because the ride before has knocked down the timing, and that's something we have to bring to us to fix the timing stations. Maybe better, and a little different.
And it's something you like learn along the way, isn't it? But then I actually really like that in that it's not something you would see from you would see ever happen at like a world race. Like they'd never be like, oh, we're going to take your GoPro footage. On one hand, we're like trying to be, or Swecup is trying to be like super professional, but on the other hand, it's still riders behind it organizing it, and you're like, it would really suck to not get any time at all. So we can like make a like middle ground.
But it was one rider, and directly after he started, they saw it that it was twisted, and they just didn't call him back. So it's I was there, so it's a problem when you are leaning against a live timing system, and that doesn't deliver the way you want it to deliver. And then you don't directly see if there's a problem, and that's what we're going to try to fix this year.
It's really great that you guys are on top of that and looking for solutions, because I actually think it's like in general it was pretty good last year, and to think that we're going to be a step on top of that is a next step up from that. Sorry, it's going to be really cool. So a big announcement came out this week. Wato Drink came on board. Can you tell us a little bit about that and how it came about?
We have been working with Vato for a year now.
And, I've seen on the CES.
On the Capital Enduro Series and on all our gravel events. We have had the drinks, and the competitors really love them. And they're vanishing on the events, and they like them. So when SEF asked if any of the organizers had some kind of sponsors that could be willing to be interested in the whole series, we said, well, here's an email, Malin. Make the best of it. And then Malin and the staff behind the Swedish Cycling Federation has done an incredible job together with Robert and Martin at Vato, and it's so good to have a company like Vato behind this series, because it's a product that we can give all of the competitors. We can actually give all of them this, because it's caffeine free, and it doesn't bring crap in drinks. It's pure. It's good for the riders, and it's really nice to have this on board.
Yeah, I have to say, like at the Flotsbro round, like where they were sort of trackside, there was a couple of moments, because that was like a quite hot race and a lot of physical input. And you come and there's just these like crates, and it's just like take them, and you have a whole one, and then I mean the pedal to the next stage, I was absolutely buzzing, because I picked up one of the caffeine ones, not the non-caffeine ones, but like that was a really cool thing. And tell you what, that must have been one hell of an email from Malin to get that in.
But Vato is also the official nutrition drink for Swedish decathlon. So, and now they are the official function drink for Swedish Enduro. So it's this drink has passed a small needle's hole to get through the medicine board of the decathlon team, and so it's a pure drink.
Yeah, that must be hard, eh?
That has been a hard work.
You're not going to get McDonald's sponsoring the decathlon team, are you?
No,
like
I don't. Yeah, maybe you have a shitload of money, but not with products.
Okay, great. So what can we expect from them, like actually on the race, like on the ground for the riders? Is it
there will be drinks there and promos and stuff for the riders.
And do you know like where people can actually buy it? Is it just online, or is it in stores?
Right now it's just online. They have been available at some supermarkets, but it will be mostly online, I think. And there will be kickbacks for both clubs and organizers to actually sell them to the competitors, and they will be free of charge for all the competitors at the races.
That's insane.
And there will be a lot of them.
That's crazy. Stoked from you guys
Yeah.
at Wato. Thanks for doing that.
Yeah.
That's really like raising the level
And
of the series.
one thing that we have learned from last year is that some of the competitors came after Flotsbro and said, "Oh, why didn't you have water? And why didn't you have that there and that there?" And they said it was just a sugary sports drink and with bubbles in it. And I don't take that because I haven't tried it before.
Yeah, I understand that.
So what we have learned that we have to give these to the competitors before during training day so they can taste them and they know what it is.
Yeah.
Because if you come at the pulse is like 170 after a stage and you just come down and someone give you a can, drink this. Maybe you don't do it if you're a competitor.
Yeah.
And I understand that.
I've made that mistake before, like taking, I can't remember where it was. It was a race in Sweden ages ago, and I had like it wasn't a free thing, but we'd bought some like energy gels or whatever.
Yeah.
And I'm quite sensitive to caffeine, and I had one of these like mid race, and there was an alfresco toilet situation.
Yeah.
Enough, like no more needs to be said about that.
Yeah, but I understand that you know you have to know what you drink and eat during a competition, and we will make sure on our side as a organizer, and I know that Robert and Martin from Vato will tell everybody what's
great,
what this is,
and I can say from like personal experience, because I mostly have the like non caffeine one, and it's really good, and then those evenings when you're trying to get on the Zwift bike and you really don't want to, you have one of the caffeine ones, man, you're on that bike. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's move on. One thing that we had a little chat about before we started. I think people would be interested to hear a bit about how like decisions are made at Swecup, because from what like as you said, there's like 7 rounds from 7 different like cycle clubs. So with things like all stuff like deciding venues, deciding how many stages they should be, like any sort of these questions, like how are these solved?
We have a small board that's the gravity board. We focus on and this board includes one from each of the organizers of the enduro, and of course the SCF. Malin there is their representative. And then when we have questions from the competitors or other venues, for example, we discuss them and we take a voting or discuss a good solution for the riders and for us.
That's really cool to hear. And what's the best way for riders to get in contact? Is it send their like local club an email or directly to
talk to your local organizer? And then they have to contact Malin at the SCF, because this is the Swecup Enduro. That's a series from the SCF. And we are just organizers of several events. So all the main decisions are made by the SCF together with us. And but the thing is that we work it really good, and we have sometime feisty decisions or discussions about it. But the most part is really creative, and there are some brilliant people behind this, and that really works way harder than most of the competitors think to make this happen.
That's really good to hear, because I mean, I guess everyone on there, like, they're not in there, I can't imagine they're in there to make money. Like, it's a lot of people that are passionate about the sport, and I think that's easy to forget sometimes. Like when you're the racer, especially in the heat of the moment, you get down a race run and you're like, oh, this wasn't good, that wasn't good. I know I have said a lot of stuff like this, and then afterwards I'm like, when you're driving home, you're like, Ollie, keep your mouth shut. But it's nice to hear that all these things are like spoke about, and it's not like a dictatorship.
No, absolutely not. That's a good thing, is that all of the venues they are run independently. So there are 7 different venues, and they will be different.
Yeah.
But
there's not like a. Do you have things like do you say it has to be this amount of stages, or it has to be this much like time, or is there like a ground?
There are regulations about the enduro, and that regulations are set by the old EVS and the ICU now.
Okay.
And we just have a Swedish version of it, and we want the elite competition to be tough.
Yeah.
And I actually want it to be even tougher, and then we want a playground for the people who don't want to compete. So it should be open for everybody.
For sure.
Yeah, and that's something we have to take with us to make it more accessible for everybody to race enduro.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. I think that's quite like. That's one thing that's maybe quite different from like racing in UK, because you've got like in the UK you have a similar thing where you've got like these different it's not like cycle clubs but different event organisers, and then they have like a national series that stops at each one. But then you have like a lot of like tiered events, so you'll have a lot more like regional races that are quite like entry level. Like, and they do the sort of mash-up format where you can do as many runs on each track and stuff, and people are aware of these levels, and then they step up and up. But there's a lot more people riding there, and a lot more chance to like dilute it, you know. Whereas in Sweden, it is like, well, this year it's free, but for ages it's been sort of 2 or 3 underground series, and then the national series and the Capital Enduro, and it's hard to like find that balance to be like, yeah, we want the best riders in the country to come here, but then we also want to like have it good enough, or a nice like introduction, and it's hard to find that. So I think it is quite a unique challenge, but it's really nice to hear that you guys have this like in mind.
And the thing is that the terrain in Sweden is, we don't have the big mountains. We have the big mountains, but we don't have any really big races up there. And that's another question about that. It's you even if you have the best stages in Sweden, you have to have an organization behind it, so you actually can have a race, because somebody has to do all the work behind.
Yeah, for sure.
For make it happen, and that's what we are trying to do, just to make a playground for all the cyclists.
Great, that's good to hear. But that really leads me on to another question. Order. And one thing you said there, and I remember saying it at the time, and I was because when did we race there? Was it 2020 or 2019? No, 2021. Jeez, man. And I was so stoked to go to Aura. I really was. Like, I'd raced in Sweden for like 3 years at that point, and I'd missed the 2018 race. So I was super stoked to go to Aura. And then at the time, I remember feeling a bit disappointed, especially like after coming down like the longer stage. And some things still stand in my head. Like, you had like the there was like tape on the track that was like black and white tape on grey rocks, and it was like it was a bit harder. Then as I like since then, I've like organised or like helped set up races for you, and you see like how much work it is, and you're like, yeah, it's like a 15-minute trail. Like, you can't have it taped the whole way. It's not EWS. So that like this work does need to be done behind the scene. All that being said, like, can you tell us a little bit why Order is not on the calendar? Because every rider wants to do it, and the thing that gets me, Östersund is awesome, right? Like, it's such a good place to ride bikes, but so many people are coming from so far to race that. A lot of riders are driving over 8 hours to get there. Then you think, like, but an extra like hour, and you're in the place that I think it has the biggest hill. It doesn't necessarily mean it's the best tracks, but as a stepping stone for the like elite riders, especially, that is the place that is really going to prepare you the most for like EWS. You know, but then also as a new rider, like what a great place to go and like experience. But sorry, I really like digress there. But
I actually don't know all the details, but one thing I know, because I've been involved in some organization up there together with All Extreme, and I know there's a lot of landowners and there's a lot of wills, and it's not easy to manage to do anything up there.
Yeah, okay.
And then to do this, you have to have organizations that are 100% dedicated and have the time and will to actually bring it forward. And I don't think that right now it's not easy for them to do that.
Yeah.
But hopefully, I say hopefully, this year is not possible, but maybe next year we will see Ollie on the calendar again. I really, really hope, and I really hope we can see more venues.
Yeah.
In Sweden.
Yeah, for sure.
And make the series bigger and make it better for the competitors from all over the country.
It would be great to see Aura back on the calendar. It really would.
Yeah, I'm 100% with that.
Yeah.
I think it should be on the calendar.
Yeah. And you know, there's a few other places I know people were hoping, and I know you don't have much involvement in this particular thing, but there was a few people hoping that Valorsen might reappear, and
Valorsen has new owners since a couple of weeks. So
I saw that you just updated.
It's beginning to be. Valorsen is actually changing the whole concept to be a bike-only resort.
Oh wow!
So they have some really interesting stuff going on down there. New owners, and. Before both Ulricehamn and Valorsen had the same owner. It was Branes Group.
I did look at this because I saw that they were up for sale, and I wondered if I could stretch my budget enough to buy one, but it wasn't possible.
No, you have to sell your bike. Then.
I think so.
No, but the thing is that Ulricehamn, they got the deal earlier, and actually. It's on the calendar now.
Yeah, that's so stoked to go back to
really, really, really fun to have them back. It was
so sick when we were there before.
It's good trails, and then maybe next year Valorsen will be there. I don't have any details about it, but I know they were building it and remodeling it to be a bike location, and they will take away all the snow. Cannons and stuff and make it bike only.
Sick.
And
do you reckon they're aiming for like an all-year bike resort?
It could be a possibility. It's 4,000. It's 1,000. I think they may have a possibility to have it open.
All I can say for now is that I think it opens in like 6 weeks, something like that. And me and all the guys I ride with, everyone's pretty stoked to go there for opening weekend because it's like the trails there are so good.
Yeah, I raced there in 2018.
Well, it was that the year they did it with Kungsbygget as well. No, that was the year after, wasn't it?
Yeah, so in 2018 we were there, and it was.
I was there as well. That was my first Swedish race.
Yeah. I was there with the blueberry guys from the Crampflesh.
Okay. Yeah. So is there anything else you'd... Oh! No, not is there anything else. So your race is obviously the Stockholm round, which is Flotsbro. Before I ask you about it, just my opinion on Flotsbro last year. Obviously, it was my home round, so I loved it. But I thought the organisation for that one was really good. Anyone that like watches the channel and knows me as a rider will know I'm a bit like... I can go a bit much when it comes to like the organisation, the like infrastructure and particularly like taping and signage. Like they're two of my little like really bugbears. But I thought Flotsbro was so good for that. And also you introduced the pro stage. That was the first pro stage there. And I thought that pro stage was unbelievable. Like the crowds, like it was so crazy, especially like being like the last few guys to come down the hill. You're there at the start when the crowds are so big, and then all of a sudden it starts getting thinner and thinner and thinner, and then you're sat up there and you're like, God, there's only 10 people left now. That means there's a lot of people by the side of this hill.
Yeah.
But again, sorry, I digress. What can you tell us about Flotsbro for 2023?
Yeah, it's a work in progress. It's nothing much done yet. It's they are busy making snow and trying to have it open as long as possible.
Yeah.
And as soon as the snow is gone, we can start planning. And but we have a vision that we will do it. Flotsbro is a sprint format.
Yeah.
It's short, and there will be many stages.
Yeah.
That's the thing we do.
More stages than last year, do you think?
I don't think it will be more stages. I don't think so. But and we will, with the new system with the classes and stuff, we will chop it up a little.
Yeah.
And we'll make it even harder for the pros. For the elite, let's call them that.
Yeah.
Not the pros. Yeah. They are pro, but in Sweden they call it elite. That class will be harder. Yeah. And they will help quite a bit.
Yeah,
and of course the introduction of Pro Stage.
Yeah,
it was not very happy talks about it before.
Okay.
A lot of people said, "Why do we need to race on the Saturday?"
Yeah.
And why do we have to do this way?
Yeah.
And
everyone's scared of change, man.
Yeah, it's scared of change. But I think if you take it after, in the big picture, it will really, it was a success.
Yeah. It definitely was.
And I think that you will see a lot of pro stages this year.
I heard that Arvika is going to have one. They're going to have a pro stage.
Yeah.
I can only imagine it's going to be the track that would, like with the drop into the arena. I hope so.
I don't know. But the thing is that I actually think that most of the venues this year will have a pro stage.
Sick. It just adds something a bit different because like one of the things I would say about the Swecup as a whole, and it's two-sided. Like there's a lot of we go to the same places a lot.
Yeah.
But so like it becomes a bit repetitive. But on the other hand, you've got to be so thankful for these places because it's not like other places are stepping forward and going, no, we want it, and then this other like the places we keep going back to are like, no, you can't have it, we want it. Yeah. There's no one else stepping up.
Yeah.
So I thought the pro stage thing really like shook it up a bit. And you say about like the sprint format, I really like it's so different, like look at like Ostersund, there was so much descending and everything there. Yeah. But then we went to Stockholm, there was some descending, but it's like the Stockholm riding is so unique and it's so challenging.
Yeah.
And I think in practice everyone was a bit like, oh, this is going to be quite difficult. The camera got too hot there. But we'll try and carry on.
I think the camera need a Vato.
What I was saying was that like when it was in practice, the stages seemed like they were going to be quite difficult. When you're in the race, especially in the dry in Stockholm, it just runs so quick. You just pump up those tires a bit, stiffen up that suspension, and you just rail through it. Yeah. But last thing I want to ask you, can I get? Do you have any like rider predictions for like who you think is going to win anything or?
No,
it'd be quite difficult, right?
Yeah, I think I leave that to you guys to discuss.
Different prediction. Yeah. What do you think is going to be the riders' favourite round?
The favourite round this year, I think Alvika.
Yeah.
I think that will be sixth this year.
I do that one.
I think it's really, really good that they get the national.
Yeah.
And it's the right choice for this year.
You can really see it's built year on year.
Yeah, and it's a super professional organization behind it, and it will be a mega event. I will miss it, but they will run a mega event this year, and it will be tough.
Yeah. You know, as we were saying before, like the different formats, which I think where you have different cycle clubs, it really lends itself to like different formats for each race, or like not formats, but the very different terrain. And I think Arvika is really good for that because it's not like say Ostersund where you could get the lift and you could like bang out a load of runs on each track. There, it's like it's such a big loop that you can literally go and do like one practice run on everything, and then you race it. And for me, that's like that's what enduro was when it started. You're really like racing stuff like quite blind, and it really like hits home with me. I freaking love riding Arvika.
Yeah, and now when they are talking about getting a pro stage also, one of the important part of the pro stage, I think, is that normally you have the practice, and then everybody just chatters. Go home, and everybody just disappears. When you have the pro stage, you have a race. The race starts at 4 o'clock or something.
It really adds something to the day as a rider.
You have to think about the practice, not to get to cook yourself, and then the good thing is that everybody stays, and it keeps the atmosphere.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
And when I was standing for 15 minutes before the pro stage in Stockholm, just listening to riders on top of Flotsbro, because we had like 120 riders on top of the hill, and they were just buzzing, and nobody know what is this all about.
Yeah.
And then when the first riders started to go away, the people up on the top started to hear
the noise. You could hear the
noise.
Those woods at the bottom.
Yeah, it was the same in Isaberg when they rode the pro stage.
Isaberg pro stage. Yeah. Oh my god!
It was so noisy during the pro stage, and that I was standing at the
end of that pro stage was outrageous.
Yeah, and the thing is that we need to do this more of a competitive party weekend.
Yeah.
We have to bring more to the competitors. So that's the big thing. Yeah.
Okay, so should we move on to Capital Enduro?
Absolutely.
So before we go on to like this season, can you tell me a bit about, cause just in my time in Sweden, it's gone from the sort of SBR. I was here like the first year of Capital Enduro, I think.
2019.
But before that, long before that, it was SBR.
Yeah, SBR has been a name in Stockholm since 2008.
Wow.
And there were racing bikes that are not what we call enduro bikes. Yeah. And it's been an underground series for so long, and so many people have done so much building trails and maintain hills in Stockholm, Flotsbro, a lot of places.
My god!
There have been so many people behind this, and they have done a fantastic job. But in 2018, we saw I was one of the organizers behind one of the races in 2018, and in 2019 we actually didn't see anybody had the time because their lives changed, and they didn't have the time and the power to do more events. And then we came up with the idea of a real series in Stockholm, and we call it Capital Enduro Series. And I think I did 3 events, and we have 2 or 3 others also. And it was the start of all of this, and then it was the pandemic. And we invented the social distance rally, SDR, where we had team races on 3 different locations in Stockholm.
I didn't actually do that one.
Yeah, it was 3 stages. It was Löttinge, Väsjöbacken, and Väsby, and you raced 3 stages as a team of 4, and then you have your combined times. And
This is why I call you the godfather of Stockholm
but
Enduro.
That was just so we actually could race, because we weren't allowed to.
I remember, because that was going to be my first contribution towards organising a race with the first one of the season.
And actually, that day was the first time I think Väsjöbacken got the idea that people wanted to race there, because we met Ollie there, and he said, "Do people actually want to bike on this little hill?" And then he saw the faces of the competitors. They were working on the slopes, and he saw all the competitors, and I think he called Matthias the weekend after and said, "I think we should open the lift."
Yeah,
that was one of the start for Väsjöbacken as a bike park.
Oh, it's so cool, man! And, I probably. I must be up there with like the most meters descended on that hill. I pretty much lived. I literally did park my van there for months last year, and seeing what that's gone from and to is awesome. So it's cool to hear a bit about how it started.
And then this year we are doing the final race, the same as last year
with the dual slalom.
With the dual slalom.
The dual slalom was class.
Yeah, that was good. Pretty cool.
Okay, so that's like the history behind it. One thing that I thought that you really brought to it, or like Ecab or CES brought to it, was the media was really good for it. Are we going to have the same setup? You were telling me earlier there's some new like toys floating about for this season.
Yeah, exactly. Before we had some amazing photographers that randomly showed up at the SBR and took some photos. And some of them are really, really good. And one of them is, of course, Escape Gravity Media, Jocke.
Yeah, and what guy?
Last year I said to him that we have to do this even better. So I gave him a budget, and I gave him a playground. And he has delivered. Some solid photos and reels and stuff. And into that we also have August, Thea, and Roger.
And I think that's something that's can maybe go a bit unseen sometimes. People are like, oh, where does my entry money go, or something. And you see this, and like no one has to pay for these photos. In the UK, you pay for all your race photos and stuff, but like you can just go on there and get these like high quality clips, and you always know there's going to be good media because you're around, Jocke's around, all these other guys are there, so the Instagram's always there. There's usually a live or something going on, so I that really impressed me.
That's the important part, and I'm a crappy photographer, that's for sure. And
I do remember some of your lives.
I leave that to other people.
It's a talent in itself, knowing like when to delegate,
when to stop.
Other things on the CES then. Can you just give me a quick run through the venues for this year?
The venues right now, we have a go from Länsstyrelsen about Resare. That will be the premiere. We're just waiting on the final papers from the police that everything is okay. The second venue is hanging a little there because we didn't have a okay. But it will happen. It's the same that happened last year. We have, when we evolved the Capital Enduro Series to be real races under the SEF.
Legit, right?
Yeah, legit real races. We have occurred some things that you don't have when you have an underground race. Because you can just run them.
Yeah, and it's like ride at your own risk, right?
Yeah, because we are very keen to our competitors that they are safe.
Yeah,
and
it's a big thing.
Yeah, big thing. And therefore we have to have all the permits. And right now we don't have the permits for the second round, so we haven't put it out. But we have the permits for Väsby. We have the permits for the last race at Väsjöbacken, but that's all in the hill. And then we are just waiting on the last permits for Resare for the premiere.
But Flotsbro will also be like a mix. Will that be like last year?
That will be like last year. So you gain points if you if you have been racing any of the first 2 rounds, you will get a mixed up class at Flotsbro, so you will get points for Flotsbro also.
Yeah, and you don't have to like worry about that if you're.
No. It's just
it just happens.
We will. Last year we used 6 tracks from Flotsbro, we raced the pro stage. We raced the stage 8.
Which one was that?
The Dödsbanten.
Oh,
but not everybody.
Yeah, but you kept in that like super XC stage, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, man, I snapped my chain at the gate on that stage, and yeah.
Too much Swift power.
Oh yeah. Oh, sorry. I was just getting into my own head because I finished. Side note, sorry guys, I finished 5th, three series in a row or 3 times in a row in Capital Enduro, and it happened. It just happened again.
But that last year in Capital, we had some major start. We have a long stretch in the start because life came in the middle of it.
Yeah. Things happen.
I had to take a break. But we are way better this year, and we are way more prepared. And we have some really nice stuff waiting for the winners from last year.
Sick.
And we will have that at the start of the year.
Okay. And shout out to Bill Bob. Make sure you don't miss the first round.
And Clara and all of the other winners. Because the races last year was a little shaky. But it will be better this year. We are more prepared, and we can put some of the stuff in life behind us.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, I know what was going on, and I don't think any riders had any problem with you taking a break. I'm
really happy to have Caroline at the part of this organization. I put a lot of work on her, and she don't get paid for it. That's the true thing, and I don't get paid for it either. Capital Enduro Series are done without any profit.
Yeah, it's for the love, right?
Yeah, it's not what we live off. That's not what's paying our bills. We do it because we think it's the right thing to do, and I think it's this year with the collaborations we are starting. Yeah, I think it will be a cornerstone of the Swedish Enduro.
Yeah, I really think it is already. Just to touch on Caroline, she's also the one that keeps us safe if someone has a big accident.
Yeah, that's
so thank you, Caroline.
Yeah, that's one of the big things of always having the safety of the riders. We want them to be insured, and we want to have someone to take care of them if they crash.
Yeah,
and you have a really tendency to do that.
Me?
I shouldn't say anything because I crashed out in 2019. I can't bike since then, so maybe I should just keep quiet.
Yes, we all crash. Some more than others.
Yeah.
But you touched on something there that is a new addition, the Wato Enduro Series.
Yeah,
that was pronounced right.
Yeah.
And there's a collaboration between Capital Enduro and Wato, organised by Ride and Develop.
Yeah.
So how's that collaboration going to work?
It's really simple. The collaboration is all about making the foundation of the enduro sport grow and making the step to start competing smaller for the beginners.
Yeah, you're not straight into national stuff.
And the big thing is that we will help each other with some of the venues, and we will help with timekeeping, and we will help with organizing. And the main part is that you can get qualification points from one round from the other series.
Okay.
So we have 5 rounds in Stockholm, and 4 of them will count.
Yeah.
But if you only can ride 3 of the Stockholms, you can go down to Ghana at the premiere, race down there.
Yeah.
That will be a hard competition because I think half of Swedish mountain bikers want to be there.
Yeah.
And he will that event will put the Capital Enduro Series really on the map.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Like I speak to Philip a lot,
Yeah.
and he's a good friend of mine, and I know all the work he's been putting in on this, and I think between you and him, like, oh man, like it's gonna be pretty good.
Yeah,
that Grana race like 1 week before the first national.
Yeah, I think that if you're racing nationals in Gothenburg, you should be in Grana just to warm up. That would be spectacular, I think.
Yeah. I will be there. The channel will be there. If anyone wants to get in touch and have a chat, we can do something like this. Like, reach out.
I will definitely be there.
So one thing, fun fact about Capital Enduro.
Yeah.
There's been 3, and I'm only talking about the men's. Sorry, I'm not sure about the other classes. But so the 3 winners, we've had Nicholas Bergstrom in 2019.
Yeah.
Then Victor Lawson in 2021, and Ville Lindbom in this last year, 2022.
Yeah.
Do you think any of them are coming back to retain their title, or do you think there's going to be a new series winner this year?
It's up to you guys.
You're not going to give me anything on that, are you?
No, I actually don't care.
Yeah, I knew you were going to say that. Yeah.
Who the winner is not
irrelevant.
Yeah.
Right? It's you just want to see riders having a good time.
Yeah, and my main focus is that the rider in men's class, maybe who is it place 62.
Yeah.
That he comes down with a smile.
Yeah.
And say, damn, this is cool. I'm gonna do this again. It's crazy.
So sick to hear that, man. That's so cool.
It's crazy, and I'm not sure why I'm doing it.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna be here next time.
Yeah.
And that's the only important thing for me.
Awesome.
I want
as a obviously for me, I think my enjoyment of racing is a bit different because every race I'm like, oh, I'm going there to win it, I'm going to win a race. Fucking calm down, Ollie. I'm going there to like get my best result or but like it's easy to forget that it's about like so much more than that.
Yeah.
You know.
When I was racing enduro, I was just happy to stay alive. And I just want to progress, be better each time.
Yeah.
And I've been competing in some other formats before, and then it was all about winning, to be the best in the world. That was everything my goal was. So I understand people that really, really put everything to be on top, because it costs money and it costs time, and it can break you down, but it's a way of life.
Yeah, it is.
But
it's a way
for those couple of competitors, that's really, really the best. I cannot focus on them.
Yeah, no.
I just need to focus on everybody else.
Yeah.
And that's why we are twisting things up a little this year.
Good. Yeah. Well, when you say twisting things up, you can keep it to yourself.
Yeah.
In my head, I'm like, oh my god, are you going to do like handicaps to like?
No, nothing like that.
The person who won it last year has a 10 seconds.
Yeah. The fastest rider will always be the winner. But we will introduce a new format for people that maybe don't want to do the full distance.
Okay.
But more on that when we can introduce the registration for the first event.
Okay. The class is going to stay the same for this year.
The classes, we will add a class.
Okay.
We'll add a class. Otherwise, it will be the same.
Well, can you tell us any more on what class? Or it will be the
it will
non-full
be a beginner
distance
class.
Okay.
With where you only race half of the distance.
Okay.
Just to try on not the sketchy stuff.
Yeah, it's so
easier
sick.
Way to start.
Great idea.
And,
Great idea.
Only tracks with the B lines.
Yeah.
And where you can take alternatives.
Great idea. Really, really great idea.
And I will say that Väsby is maybe the best venue we ever had to introduce new riders to the enduro sport, because it's maybe the smallest hill in Sweden where we have a race.
Yeah,
it's
that and Lottinger are battling it out, right?
No, Lottinger is it's Mount Everest. If you
What is it, like 45 meters?
Yeah, Väsby is 32.
Oi.
And but the racing in Väsby are just sick.
Oh yeah, it's so good.
Yeah,
it's so good.
It's pedally and it's fast and.
But the people who have built the tracks there, they've made such good stuff out of such a small hill.
Yeah, and
it's always going to hold a place in my heart as well,
yeah.
because that's where I got my first ever podium.
Yeah.
And my mom and dad had come to the first race, and Alice. Yeah. But they come to the first race to watch me race in years and years and years.
But it's a fantastic venue to start with an enduro.
100%.
And just maybe you don't even need an enduro bike.
No,
you can go there.
Not.
You can go there with a cross country bike.
Yeah.
Hardtail. It's not a problem, but you can be there and feel the atmosphere and race.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you could definitely do well there on a cross country bike.
And that's another.
Okay, so we've all learned some things about recording long videos like this with cameras getting too hot.
Yeah.
Let's just wrap up on CES. Yeah. Anything else you want to add?
A really important thing is that we are making the girls more. We're making Capital Enduro Series more accessible for the girls.
Okay.
So if you are 16 and under, we will have a free starting fee for all girls. And
so cool.
Because we have a lot of young kids riding, but we have not a lot of young girls riding. And we have some really, really good.
Yeah.
But they just don't show up.
Yeah.
And we don't know why there's a gap for them to start. So
it's been a really good channel, because you look at some of the like top young riders in the country now, and you got like Ollie Jonsson, who started here, and then you got Ella, Svegby,
yes.
Yeah. And they both like were starting off in the Capital Enduro, so it's a really good channel for like people to come into racing.
And that's why we have said that you have a free starting fee. You pay for the rent of the
ship.
Of the ship. That's 50 kronor. That's all.
That's not a bad price to pay to come and race.
No, and we will have that all year, and we will have for the girls racing on the first 2 rounds. We'll have a promo for them on the Flotsbro race also. Okay. Just for them to try a big race. Yeah. And more of that when we deliver our new logo and our new socks.
Okay, cool. When you put the post up, I hadn't read it, and I was just like sliding across the photos, and I was like, "Why is that picture not loading?" And then I read it. I was like, "Oh, okay." I think that's pretty much everything. Också förlåt för prata inte svenska. My Swedish is not so great.
No.
I'm learning. I'm trying. So if you see me at a race, chuck a Swedish sentence at me first before you go in English. Don't make it easy for me. God, I already regret saying that. But looking forward to like doing some racing, and we'll put links to like everything we spoke about in the bio. In the description, and if you have any other questions for like Roger about any sort of racing, you can either message him direct or stick it in the comments to the video, and then we can catch up with you and hit you with some of these questions like at the first race or something like that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Nice one, man.
Nice.
Thank you so much.
Yep.